Hello, everyone. So how many of you work with computers daily? Okay, so we are allowed to make a little bit of fun on them, right? To have a little bit of fun. You know what this is? What this image is? Please raise your hand. If you've seen it. Do you think it's a self-driving car trapped in a circle of magic? Or is it an exhibition by an artist? Yeah, it was an artist. This isn't even a self-driving vehicle. It's a regular vehicle. This guy thought that it would be fun to do like an invocation circle around the vehicle and show it as if it had been trapped inside. But it's not true. Okay, they are not so clever, but not so stupid. The machines, okay? So today we are going to make a little bit of fun on computers because we like it and because it's fun. This is me, according to my 10-year-old daughter. This was when I was working at Devo. I can assure you that I didn't wear a tie for a single day that I worked there. But somehow she drew me with a tie. I don't know why. Currently, I work at Influencity, which is a millennial company that sells millennial things to millennials. That's why I'm wearing these awesome avocado socks, because now I have to look like a millennial. Thank you. Not look like this anymore, but look like a millennial. So, what are we going to see today? First, the beginnings of artificial intelligence, a little bit. Then, the coming of age, like the adolescence or the teenage. Some case studies, then some analysis on them, and finally our conclusions. So, why me? Why am I doing this talk? Well, because I've been more than 20 years in the industry. I'm interested in the area since the 90s. I'm following scientific publications on this. And I've read a lot of blog posts, a real lot. And also because of my extremely muscular body. Maybe you cannot see it very well with this t-shirt, but I'm ripped inside. And I'm not saying that I'm here because of my body, but it didn't hurt. Okay, so I'm here in Rome. I'm very satisfied to be here. This is one of my heroes. Anyone know who this is? I'm going to give you a little present, please. Yes. Sue? Sorry?
We know him?
Yes.
Yes, we know.
Who is it? Cool. Thanks. Well done. Yeah, he was born here in Rome like 90 years ago, and he died 30 years ago. He's one of my favorite directors, so I'm going to be showing a few of his films. Also, if you're ever in Spain, I'm from Almeria, where he shot part of the movie. And another part was shot here in Burgos. This is, remember this? The Sad Hill Cemetery, the awesome cemetery. Well, it was restored a few years ago, and there's a Netflix movie called Sad Hill Unearthed, where you can see where it is and how they did it, and it's completely awesome. Go visit because it's great. This is my daughter and my wife. We were shooting each other. Great, so the beginnings of AI. This is per un pugno di dollari. Cool. The first movie in the trilogy of the good, the bad, and the ugly. The Dollars trilogy. So, anyone knows who this is? Sorry? No. No. Oh, sorry. It's you missed one of these Spanish-made toallitas. They are used to clean your laptop or your mobile phone. But anyway, this is Marvin Minsky. He's one of the pioneers of artificial intelligence. He did one of the first neural networks and everything. And this woman, this is worth at least 2 towels. Because she's one of the hidden pioneers in the industry. You know, there are a lot of women who are not as visible as they should be sometimes. Anyway, this is Karen Spark-Jones, she worked a lot in early language processing. So there have been a lot of very intelligent people, much more intelligent than myself, working in this. So I'm going to make fun of them because I'm jealous, okay? But not yet. Right now, let's see how people were quite optimistic in the early days, in the 60s. This is a lot to read, but he said that technology should extend our intellectual efforts, and give us the tools to reach out. And then he says that the man-machine partnership should be what is emphasized. This quote, or more or less, is here in this book. It's an awesome book by Arthur C. Clarke. This is a copy of the book that has 35 years that was given to me as a present when I was 11. Yeah, I'm so old. And this awesome book speaks a little bit about artificial intelligence, which we shall see a little bit later. So you see that people were quite optimistic about the whole thing. In the literature, in the US, first, anyone knows who this is? Not this one, not this idiot. This. Sorry? Mm-mm. No, very near, but no. Sorry? No. Yes! Who was it? Can you please pass it to him? Awesome.
Who is that?
Robbie the Robot. This is one of the two extant live versions of the robot, used the movie props. It's in Madrid, in the Museum of Robots. And it's awesome to watch. There are also, to see there. There are also many other robots. This one I'm not going to ask because it's there. Sorry about that. And this one? Yes, the Jetsons. Great. So you see this kind of, who was it? More or less optimistic state. This one is a faithful servant, like this one. This becomes a faithful servant. But then in the EU, in Europe, actually I don't think they were in the EU at the time. This one I'm not going to ask. Well, I will. Who is this? Yes, very good. You can give it to. Yes. And this one is really hard. What is it? My man. Yes. It's an awesome Poland author called Stanislaw Lem, and he wrote a series of short stories called Siberiad, something like that. This is the Great Troll and the Great Clapaisius, the two constructors, robots. They were very intelligent. We see some hint of peril here, of danger, but Clarke was not a fan of killer robots. Okay, he just put it there for drama, for the drama. Okay, so let's move on now to Per qualche dollaro in più. When robots were more or less adolescent, okay, they were teenagers. There was a very important event, which was in 1997, when Deep Blue defeated world champ Kasparov. He was not happy about it. And for many people, it was a completely groundbreaking event. The machine had finally defeated man. Okay? So everyone was so sad. Humans are defeated. The end of the race is near. But really, were we defeated at that event? Because this guy is Murray Campbell. He worked for IBM, and he designed the algorithm that beat Kasparov. So really, it was designed by a man. So, of course, it was programmed by people. So he's probably human. It appears to be definitely human. So in fact, it was rather the algorithm beating a person, the algorithm designed by another person. So it was a person defeating a team, actually, defeating a person. It's like if you are riding a motorbike and you run faster than a person running, and you say, hey, the machine defeated the person. Yeah, but so what? I mean, it was designed by people anyway. Also in the 90s, there was the infamous Pentium bug, and then they started using automated theorem proving, to solve similar problems in the future. So there were many industrial applications. And in the literature in the US, anyone know who this is? Yes, good for you. Oops. The second one is a bit harder, but still easy.
Aliens, crew member.
Cool, well done. It's Ian Holm performing as the android in the original Alien movie. You see that they are already turning a little bit creepier than in the previous generation, right? People are becoming afraid of them. And this is? Too many, yeah. Johnny Five from Short Circuit. This was a funny version. And now we're not going to turn to Europe, but rather to Japan, because I think this reference is much awesomer, or much more awesome. Anyone know what this is? Yes, my friend. This is the tachycomas from Ghost in the Shell, which are very funny because instead of being super intelligent, they are rather like teenagers, like whiny teenagers, very loud and very teeny sounding. And it was a different view of robots in movies. Not from the original Ghost in the Shell, by the way, but who cares? Okay. So now we get to the present day, and let's see a few case studies to see what computers can or cannot do. This is the great il buono, il brutto, il cattivo. So for each case study, I will be showing the good, then the ugly, and then the bad part. Haha, clever reference, my friend. First, robots. Robots are awesome, right? Let's see this little fellow. I don't know if you know this video, a 9-kilogram robot doing all kinds of awesome things, walking, sliding, dropping, doing everything. Let's see here. It's like dancing. You cannot beat it. You can, but then, boing, hey, this is awesome. So let's save it. Robots are awesome, okay? Then there are industrial robots like this one that are clicking out green tomatoes at super speed. They are going very fast, and then it selects just the red ones. Awesome, right? Some more awesomeness. You know what this is? Opportunity, yes. Good. They are not going the way I want, sorry. The Opportunity rover, which was in Mars for 15 years, 14.9 more than expected of continuous operation, and it went around like more than 40 kilometers around Mars, discovering all kinds of things. So another awesome robot, right? And finally, battle bots. This is fighting robots. They destroy each other with terrible tools. This was a good part. Now let's get to the ugly part. First, please don't give robots the kill switch. The decision to kill, please don't give it, because, I don't know if you know, but programs have bugs. So, killing robots, not a good combination. Now let's go to the real world. This is what movies show about robots. This is the real world. Actual robots in the RoboCup 2016. This is what out-of-the-shelf robots actually do in real life. The others are custom prototypes. This is the real thing. So perhaps I'm thinking that the robot apocalypse is not as near as we might think. Luckily. Then, okay, this machine. It was awesome, right? But it's not actually intelligent. It's just optical technology 25 years old. So if you see the machine, it just has a lot of sensors up there, and then it's detecting green and activating the lever. So not clever at all. Sorry to bring it to you, but these ones are not real bots because they are not autonomous. There's a guy with a remote there. You see it now. There's a guy with a remote. What kind of robot is this? Why is it called battle bots? It should be called battle remote things. And finally, am I going to attempt to insult the Mars opportunity too? Let's see. This is the next generation of Mars robot. And this one is awesome because it has a probe that gets inside the Earth. But this one doesn't walk. And the one that walks cannot explore below the Earth. So they are not as versatile as you would think. So you can choose between probing or moving, apparently. And then, let's see, this was 42 kilometers of the opportunity, but this is some kind of space teapot done by the Russians, the Lunar 2 probe, Lunar whatever Russian name 2, sorry. But this is a guy on a rover, on a lunar rover. And he did this in 3 days. He got here in about 3 days. This one in 15 years has done this. So yeah, it's awesome because it's on Mars. And this is one of the most sophisticated robots because it costs many billions of dollars to send it there. So maybe we are not so bad after all compared to robots. Because sometimes you send a person there, and then it can do all kinds of things. It can repair machinery. Those robots, autonomous robots, are very, very, very really limited in what they can do. So many people at NASA are saying, why send humans to Mars if it's so expensive? Well, because they can do a lot more than the robots, you know? So the robots are not even able to say if there's life or not. And they've been there for many years. Why? Because they don't have the appropriate sensors. However, any person with a chemistry set can detect it in days. So we are not so bad. Why put so much emphasis on robots then? This is one of your compatriots, an Italian guy called Antonio Casilli, and he says that basically what capitalism is doing with the robot myth is telling all of us to shut up because otherwise a robot will take your job. But this is not actually true. You know, as Elon Musk has recently discovered, he wanted to make an automated factory to make the Model 3, and then he found out that there were too many robots there, that sometimes people were needed. Even a lowly paid person can outperform $1 million robot often, because robots are constructed to do a couple of tasks. So that was the bad part of robots. Now let's get to the next case study, which is one very dear to us, because how many of you are programmers? Good. So automatic programming is scary, right? Because we are going to be driven out of our jobs by automatic artificial intelligence programs. This is a very interesting case study by some team that did the Repairnator that automatically built patches for reported bugs and submitted them, and it was able to get 5 patches accepted by maintainers, by project maintainers, and everything was automated. But then, that's the good part. The ugly part is who is reporting those bugs? I mean, if the problem is specified and you know everything, then the automatic patch creator is just another tool that you can use. I mean, we use lots of tools every day, lots of programs. This is just another program that we can use, right? So yeah, our jobs are not let computers fix the bugs and then we do the code, and life is even more awesome than now, right? So nothing to fear here. And on the bad part, this is not a new thing. Even Grace Hopper, you know, she called high-level programming, she called it automatic programming, because we were using the computer to construct more code and then to compile. So nothing to see here. Okay? The next case study, okay, this is so awesome that I cannot possibly bring it down, right? Self-driving cars. And you see the Waymo self-driving car, and you see that it has here a camera, a 360 camera above. Here it has radar sensors. Here it has a LiDAR, a laser radar. How awesome is that? And then it has more sensors here. So this is unbeatable, right? And next, let's see the improvement. This is the number of disengagements per 1,000 miles, and you see how the technology is improving all the time. This is humans down there, and you see that Waymo is practically at our level, right? So what can we do against this? We are going to be all replaced by computers, right? Now comes the ugly part. Then you have, on the other side, you have a primate in a metal box, you know, with a square cut in front, looking across a window, and you have to compete with the LiDAR, the radars, and all of that. Okay? And sometimes the person inside is drunk, so that makes it even worse, because robots don't get drunk ever. Now let's see the reality. Okay? Let's take the graph before and let's rescale it with a logarithmic scale. And you see that now this is Waymo, way ahead of the competition, the best one. This is human crashes. The above line is counting drunk driving. The one below is without it. This is accident, injuries, and fatalities. So we are still safely a couple of orders of magnitude above Waymo. And let me say that Waymo has a lot of sensors, but also it only drives in specified areas like San Francisco. It only drives in cities with clear weather. The machines are perfectly maintained by the Google team. So a machine in the best of conditions is still like a couple of orders of magnitude worse than a drunk driver. Okay, let this sink in. So perhaps it's not so imminent after all. The ape wins. Wow. And then let's look at self-driving car manufacturers, because apparently all cars will be self-driving in a few years. Waymo, okay, GM, Nissan, BMW, Tesla, these are the ones that are more advanced. But then you go and you buy a Seat, Spanish car. Are you going to trust the self-driving stuff in there? I'm Spanish and I wouldn't. Dacia, Perodua, this is some kind of Persian manufacturer. Saipa, which is Indian. Do you think these people are going to adopt self-driving very soon? Okay, and now let's get to the bad part, which is that Elon Musk appears sometimes saying in a few years humans driving cars will be banned because we will be so dangerous compared to the machines, which is actually not true yet, and maybe not for a few years or decades. But this quote says, "The automobile of the day after tomorrow will not be driven by the owner but by itself. It may be one day a series of offense to drive an automobile on a public highway." This is here, a quote from here in the 1960s, 1961, that Clark said it before. So all those visionaries are just recycling very, very old ideas, you know, and appearing to be very smart in the process. So that's all I had to say about the self-driving car. Now let's go to deep learning. First, the good part. This is the Oldify, a program to color old pictures. You see how awesome it is. I mean, it does an excellent job. I think that a person by hand would be hard-pressed to do it better. With just two neurons, you can ride a bicycle. No, this is a 2004. It doesn't mean that you you have two neurons because that only idiots ride, okay? But in 2004, another thing. Sorry, please. Okay. By the way, this presentation will be shared on my account on Twitter, Pinchito, which would be, I guess, Pinchetto here. AlphaZero, this is awesome, right? It learned to play chess against itself in just, sometimes it says 4 hours. Actually, it was rather like 9 hours of self-training, playing it against itself. And then it beat Stockfish, which was like the best program, in a series of games. And then they were like all energized and said this. And right now it's playing StarCraft 2 against the pros and winning most of the time. So this is really awesome, right? But let's delve a little bit into it. It was trained with 5,000 first-generation TPUs plus 64 second-generation TPUs, which are custom processors made by the team, by Google. It was running on a CPU with 44 cores and 4 TPUs when it beat Stockfish. And also, Stockfish was configured with weird settings that the creator said, why do this? Like just 1 minute per move, instead of letting it compute time and adjust, it was just fixed time. So, yeah, probably you run Stockfish on some kind of this hardware, it wouldn't be the same, right? So it's not a very fair comparison. And then it's not so astonishing that machines do this. This is a long comic, you can read it later, it's very funny. And some researchers are saying that deep learning is reaching the end of the line, okay? Because sometimes there are problems that are not easy to tackle with neural networks, this kind of neural network. So maybe we need more apart from deep learning, because its proponents are saying that it can do everything, from riding a car to, I don't know, flying to Mars on its own. Also, some deep learning algorithms, what they do is not pretty, like this. Anyone remember the change in YouTube recommendations algorithm a few days ago, a few weeks ago? This was what it was recommending when you search for flat Earth theory. This is the percentage of results in favor of flat Earth. On Google search, only 20% of the results. On YouTube search, only 35%. On YouTube recommendations, 90% of the recommendations were in favor of flat Earth. So, and they said, no, it's just the algorithm. And then they found out that it was boosting alternative facts because it maximized engagement. So what they did was show you outrageous videos that you had to watch because they were so stupid. Okay, now let's get to an interesting part. Apparently, this is a neuron, one of them that we have in our brains. You know, it has here the synapses, the dendrites, axon tips, and then this. Apparently, this neuron behaves like a neural network, not like one of the neurons, but like a neural network. Why? Because it has inputs, a lot of inputs. It has a lot of nonlinear interactions here in the axon, and then the outputs are also nonlinear. So just one of the neurons is equivalent to a neural network. You have the reference there, okay, of the article. And we have apparently 100 billion, American billions, neurons. It used to be 10 billion when I was a kid. I don't know how it escalated so fast. Maybe in 10 years we will have 1 trillion, but right now it's 100 billion neurons, apparently. And the budget, the energy budget of your brain, of our brains, is around 25 watts. You know, so for 20 watts you get 100 billion neural networks. So we are not so bad after all. Because I've run a simulation here and the computer gets really, really hot. It's spending like 100 watts. So, face recognition, let's look at it specifically. This is machine learning. This is Antonio Machín. So this is not machine, but machine learning. It's detecting member, black tie, whatever, in real time. So this is awesome, right? Also, it does pattern recognition. It can say that my pictures on Amazon are categorized by plant, baby, whatever, all the people, they are recognized here. So, now let's see a little bit where it starts to break down. If you scramble the image, a person is not able to see a wolf here, probably, or a bug there, however the computer does. How come? Because actually what the AI is doing is just looking at small-scale details, basically. There's a reference here very interesting on how it does it. So it's just a bag of features, what it's doing. Now a live demo that I recorded myself, okay? This is a couple of colleagues at Devo. It's recognizing my ugly face here. But then when it's red, it's recognizing one of the contacts in the LinkedIn of one of the authors of this guy, okay? You saw that it was red briefly there, so it recognized me, right? There's only one problem, that I'm not on LinkedIn. So what's it recognizing? I don't know, not me. And also it's recognizing here Cesar from a picture. So not so useful after all, right? Yeah. That's what I say. So another interesting attack is a one-pixel attack. Once you change one single pixel in the image, you can see a white pixel there, a black pixel there. Suddenly it doesn't recognize the image anymore. The neural network that was performing awesomely before, then it doesn't recognize the picture. And now let's see a tragedy in 4 acts. First act is UK police has a trial with face recognition with a 92% false positive facial recognition. Okay, no big deal. Then apparently it becomes 98% inaccurate. Okay, not good. Then suddenly it sports a 100% failure rate a few months later, because not one of the people that were recognized by the cameras were actually one of the people that they were searching for. And then, oh, there's a scandal, a big scandal about it. Wow, surprise. So is it ready to recognize 60 million Italian people, 45 million Spanish people? Probably not. Like this lady who was fined because she was jaywalking, crossing the street illegally, but in fact she was on the side of a bus, and she was incorrectly recognized by the cameras. Not pretty. It's easy to misuse, like here by the police, okay, who are using settings that are not recommended by the maker, by Amazon. And then there's something called giraffing. What is giraffing? It's the fact that in AI training sets, there are always a lot of giraffes. So the algorithms always see giraffes everywhere. Okay, so this is called giraffing. And also, it can be a bit dangerous because in London, during the trial, police fined someone 90 pounds because they were hiding from face recognition. They were covering their faces because they didn't want to be recognized. Then the police went, hey, why are you hiding? 90 pounds, please. So once it's established, it can be hard to escape. Okay, now let's get to a little bit of the analysis because we are a bit short on time. First, most of the things that we've seen are optimization problems, actually. And algorithms, particularly neural networks are very good at optimizing many parameters in many dimensions, something that we are notoriously bad at doing by hand. Okay, so you see this shape, and you can easily optimize because it's just 2D and it's 2 parameters. But then with complex shapes and also complex dimensions, we are not able to image that in our heads, so we fail completely. But computers can do this very easily. So let's look at things like an optimization problem, okay? First, we should consider ethics, apart from what we are doing in a job. And then we say, let's look at politics like an optimization problem. The obvious part is saying, okay, we want to maximize votes. This is what Cambridge Analytica did. This is what is happening all across Europe. But this is not real politics. This is just voting. How would you do politics with an optimization algorithm? Would you minimize inequality? Would you maximize power? Or would you minimize dissent in your subjects? How do you tackle politics with an algorithm? It's an open question. Philosophy, how do you do it? Like an optimization problem. Do you maximize coherence or minimize first principles? What? I don't even know the questions that we have to ask. I mean, the merit of philosophy is asking questions, usually not giving answers. And then, just to annoy the code of conduct, let's think about religion as an optimization problem. Okay? I'm not allowed to show religious imagery, so I cannot show you a robot priest or anything. I'm not going to do that, but I don't know how to do this, sorry. I don't know where to start. How you reformulate your religion as an optimization problem is, I don't know how to do it. So, quite often what algorithms do is maximize unfairness. I don't know, and systemic bias. I don't know if you've seen this picture, which is very funny, because I mean, for us, not for this guy, who was not recognized because he was black, probably. And algorithms are designed according to our minds, you know? And what they do is perpetuate unfairness, unless we build fairness into the algorithms. And also, computers are very good at maximizing many dimensions. So you should not only limit to one dimension, you know? You can do many of them. You can recognize white people, black people, and whatever, and everyone. But you have to do the effort. Artificial intelligence is, in fact, just another tool that we can use. So it's not good to say, yeah, the algorithm did that. No, 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 you did it. You are responsible for it if you are building the algorithm. Just because it's a neural network and it takes a little bit more effort to see what's going on, it doesn't prevent you from worrying about it. Okay? Like here, when people fail, we as technical people say, oh, the algorithm is off. No, 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 the problem is that you are not doing the right questions, probably. And also there's a boogeyman of employment always. You are getting out of a job because machines are going to take it. I don't think that's going to happen very soon. You know, it's not worse now than in 200 years ago when the steam machine started doing mechanical work. Did people get out of a job because they didn't have to pull the cart themselves? And finally, the AI uprising. Are they going to wipe us all? Well, this is, according to this random quote on Twitter, but it's very interesting. It's only usually white tech guys that do this, like us, you know, because they think that they are so powerful that only the AI is going to take it away from them. So, let's get to some conclusions, if you will. First, AI is awesome, but not that awesome yet. So we tend to overestimate its capacities all the time. Then using artificial intelligence is not an excuse to being a good person. Should not be. Think about what you are doing when you program artificial intelligence, just like with anything else. And finally, please don't give artificial intelligence the kill switch. Whatever you do, don't do it. Please. Put someone inside in the loop, deciding, okay, I want to kill this particular person, I want to kill them now. Okay? And no automatic decisions, please. Okay, so I leave you now with the dancing nun. Oh, this is religious. Sorry about that. Thank you.